Good afternoon. I'm Cathy Novicky from Champions Over Cancer, and I am in the doghouse. I apologize to anyone that was waiting at 2:30 for my Facebook Live for Champions Over Cancer, day 19 on June 13th, 2017. And I'll tell you why. My day, I had planned out my day yesterday. Today's my day off, worked yesterday. So self-care, I've talked about self-care. And so this morning I went to the gym. Had a great workout and came home. And then I had a 2-hour mandatory education at the hospital. Went and did that. What I didn't count on was not having a technology engineer. Now, you might say, what's a technology engineer? Well, that is my husband Jay, because he knows that I can't even work a fax machine. I usually tell my patients, I can defibrillate you, but I just learned how to fax last week. And I've gotten better at it, but this Facebook Live, the steps to get on, to do it myself, I couldn't do it. I admit it. So he called and he said, do it yourself, and I'll just transfer it to YouTube or whatever he's going to do later on. I couldn't figure it out. So that's why I'm in the doghouse, as well as the two sleeping beauties here, our mascots, who have just slept through thunder and lightning storm, breaking the humidity. So the rest of the week is supposed to be nice in the 70s as such. And along with self-care, you can see that I'm really doing well here. But I don't have any makeup on either, so this is the real me. And what this, today, past couple days has really taught me is that being consistent does change your habits. Today is day 19. I don't think that's long enough to cement a habit, but it does teach me that I need to be more prepared, have more options for situations that arise. And I think that's very similar to what I do at work. You have a thought process in mind that this is what you're going to do, A, B, and C, and for some reason, you get a double A in there, and so you have to adjust your plan. And I believe that I'm beginning to see that is what I have to do for Champions Over Cancer. So I'm a work in progress, and always will be, because I do love to learn. And so I want to say thank you for anyone that's out there that is watching me live, or that will go back and see if I posted a live, because I wasn't on at 2:30 like I said I was supposed to be. The other thing that I was just, jotting some notes down while I was waiting for my engineer to get home was that when you share your day, like I've been doing, it makes you think about, what happened during the day, whether it was good or whether it was bad. You look at, the whys, the whats, the hows. What could you have done better? How did you react? What were the consequences, if there were any? And what can I do to make it better? So this whole process, the Facebook Live process, which I have a long way to go. It's a 90-day challenge that my coach and her boyfriend are doing with me to support me, and I am so grateful that that they have come into my life, and that they are, just who they are and the principles that they stand by. And I want to, step up and have that same integrity and have options when things don't go as they plan. So, I wanted to just say how grateful I am to them. And I completely lost my train of thought. I'm looking at myself while I do this Facebook Live, and I'm seeing these zits, and I'm like, oh boy, it's been a long time since I had, acne, and, but I think I know it's stress. Yep, that's what it is. And these past couple days I've seen the whole spectrum of the different parts of my job, of nursing, of healthcare, and it's really been very interesting to see the both extremes within 2 consecutive working days of each other, because I had the different situations and experiences so close together that I could compare them, and because they were close together, I had very good recognition and memory of how they were, how I felt, how I reacted, how I could do things better, how I, et cetera, et cetera. And to the positive aspect of that, I don't see it. I don't. It sounds like I'm putting myself down, but, well, to a certain degree I am. But I have to learn from things that didn't go so well, and take responsibility for the things that were, my mistake, or my, not error. It's just something that I didn't do in a timely fashion, or etc. Don't worry, nobody got hurt. And that's why I try to look at things as a learning experience, because nobody's perfect. I know some people think they are, but I'm not. And so whenever I have an opportunity to take an experience and learn from it, grow from it, become a better person, I want to do that. And I got a real boost today when I did this 2-hour mandatory education class at the hospital, because it was, well, first of all, it was fun because I saw a lot of people that I don't get to see a lot of times, because we're up on the 3rd floor and pretty isolated, and you're busy, so you don't see a lot of people. And so I got to sit and chat with people, some of my friends that I don't see very often. And the other thing was, I spoke with the gal who was my oncology nurse the majority of the time, and I call her my my Dutch pit bull, because she was very, very obsessive about taking care of you, and looking up things and et cetera, et cetera. And she used to call me. She'd still be at work at 7 o'clock and things like that. And she'd call me and she'd say, Cathy, I was just looking this up and I think we blah, 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 blah. I'd say, please, time out. I said, I am totally saturated with information or whatever was going on. I said, close the computer down and go home, you know. But I can understand her, you know, her passion, because she was trying to find and do the best for me as she could, because that was, you know, what brought her, you know, her joy in her job. And as an oncology nurse, I think you don't see as much, perhaps, as other floors, you know. I mean, every specialty has their quirks, you know. Labor and delivery, you know, the maternity floor is usually a very happy place, but when they have, you know, when they have a situation where there's been a stillborn birth, for example, it's the whole tone, the whole feel of that floor is just grief. It just penetrates everything, and I think because it's such an extreme, you know, that 99% of the time, you know, you go in and you know, you struggle and push and blow and swear, and then you have this child, and there's usually great joy. And then when you have an unfortunate circumstance that I know, you know, my knowledge of obstetrics is pretty limited, but what I do know is that many times when there's a stillborn, a stillborn, they never truly, well, aside from certain things, sometimes they never know why the child, you know, didn't survive in utero, and I think that's part of the sorrow, because you can never find closure, because you don't know why this baby, this perfectly formed baby, was not alive when you gave birth to it. So in that sense, it's that more hideous, that more suffering that goes on, and the parents, you know, they'll never find closure. Well, I shouldn't say never. The nuns taught me not to use always or never. But to get beyond that, they'd have to do a lot of soul searching and probably, you know, speaking with someone, which is, there's nothing wrong with talking to someone about an issue, because a lot of times the people in our lives, you know, everybody, they have opinions. We talked about perceptions, and when you speak with a professional, they are and should be a neutral party, and they can, you know, make suggestions, ask questions that would lead you to thought processes or decisions that you might not have been able to come to yourself. So I don't know why that popped into my head when I'm talking about grief on OB. I guess it is a logical leap, but I strongly believe and truly believe that you know, mental health is something in the United States that is neglected on such a large, a massive score, that it's really one of my soapbox issues, because, you know, in the, in the perceptions and policies and payers' opinions, because you can't give it a number or a blood pressure, and it's just a descriptive whatever diagnosis or analysis, it doesn't exist. But your head, and I know this, as a nurse, I know this really well, that your head is connected to your body, and in your head is your brain, and it controls the rest of your body. So hello, what goes on up here affects everything else, and it matters, and it should be addressed. I think it's the bottom line again, driving the bus. And if you have money, you could pay for it yourself, right? But that's not always the case. And the more, everybody has baggage, everybody. And what happens if you can't pay for psychiatric or psychological counseling? It's just like talking to it's talking to an impartial person who can help you. And I believe, and this is my personal belief, there's that so much of what has gone on in our country and in the world is driven by your brain, and your own issues, and or people's manipulation of you. So I'm really off on a tangent today, but okay, this is what I wanted to say. The last thing that happened to me today at my educational training was my pit bull. And she there was a survivor celebration, because National Survivors Day is, I don't know, the first week of June, and the hospital was doing it a little bit differently this year. They had it in our cafe, and so Jay and I went. We couldn't stay long because we had to be someplace else, which I can't remember where it was, but so we popped in, and it was fun. I got to see a lot of people, and you see people, and it's really good. But my pit bull said to me, you missed out, because right after you left is when there was a few speakers, short, and the mayor spoke, which he usually does at usually says something at the beginning of the speakers. And this year he spoke, and his decree included congratulations to the cancer thrivers of New Milford and the surrounding areas, etc., etc. And she was so excited. When she saw me, she came over and she said, "You missed it. It was a decree, and it's on paper." She's like, talk to this person because you might be able to get it, and etc., etc. And she said he used the word thrivers, and nowhere in his his little speech did he use the word survivor. And I was like, really? And she goes, yeah, she says, you are, you're like on the cutting edge. And I said, well, it's, it's a topic that I've been reading and I've been following, and, I'm not happy about this, and this is this, blah, blah, blah. And she was so excited, and it just, it's like, yeah, okay, somebody's listening. So, so that was so refreshing. And yeah, I guess I'm sorry that we did have someplace else to go, because I really would have loved to have heard that live. Although I might have gotten a little out of control when he said it, so maybe it's good that I wasn't there. But out of control, with glee and joy. So, irregardless, that was very, very exciting, and I am definitely going to follow up with that and see if I can find either that paperwork or if someone was recording it, and see if, exactly what he said, because maybe someone is paying attention out there, and we're going to get this thing off the ground. So, with that said, I will conclude and say again that with the greatest of sincerity that I apologize for not being prompt. I am working on it, and anyone who's following me live or just in review, thank you for your support. I'm so grateful that people are there, that the people that are following me are following me. I believe that we have added 14 new followers to our page since we started 19 days ago, which is unbelievable. It's, you got to start somewhere, and that's true for me too, because I don't have the business background, and so it's a struggle, but it's one that you have such passion for that you're working on it, and you make mistakes along the way, and you fall down, and the decision on whether or not to get up determines how far you go. And I fall a lot because I'm really clumsy, but not with a needle, so there's no worries there if I have to take care of you. So so I get up. Sometimes it takes me a few minutes, but I do. And it seems like this is, we're on the cutting edge of the topic. People are starting to listen, and it's not just from me. There's, because I'm reading things that are talking about this, but it's starting to come into, the forefront of oncology, of the future, of patients going forward. And yes, they've survived their acute care, but, are they going to be productive members of society? So, are you going to take care of them now, or they're not going to be productive members of society, and you're going to have to, pay for them later? I mean, I'm not proposing anything in that, but there's a reaction, and there are consequences to everything, and for people who have had cancer and are cancer-free or in remission, the quality of your life depends on many, many things. And I just totally believe with all my heart and soul that for people to be able to, find closure after a cancer diagnosis and move on, that they need, if they have issues, they should be able to find help and get closure, and then be able to take the opportunity to open that door to the second chance to do anything they want. And it's only going to benefit them as individuals. It benefits their family, it benefits their community, and it benefits society in general. So, you know, we need to look at this population and support them, just like all of the fundraisers and, you know, the people that do, you know, the walks and the bike races and all those things for fundraising for mammograms and for research. And because that's fine. I mean, if all of that hadn't happened, then, you know, all of us on the other side, the cancer-free side, might not be here. So, you know, that's excellent if that's where people want to focus. My focus is having a life after cancer and not being defined by it anymore. To be able to go forward, dream big. I just dropped my paper clips, and, you know, and just live and love life. So, with that said, I'm going to leave you on this high note. You're thinking, boy, what has she been smoking? Absolutely nothing. But yeah, they call me the traveling vaudeville act. And I just, you know, go from one patient to the next, and I'm just like, la la la. But if I could take somebody's mind off of their situation for 2 minutes, then I've given them a little peace of mind. And if they think I'm silly and, you know, whatever, and crazy, it doesn't matter to me, because you know, I've succeeded in what I was looking to do. So tomorrow is Wednesday, June 13th, and it will be day 20 of my Facebook Live, and I am committed to being on at 2:30. Hopefully my technological engineer will be here. Otherwise, I'll have to have a written protocol of how to get on myself. Anyway, so I hope everyone has a safe, healthy, happy afternoon and evening. And I will talk to everyone tomorrow. And until then, peace.